Yeah.
So now what I'm struggling to figure out, because we accept the fact that as we pass teams from family to family, generation to generation, you are going to hit a rough spot from time to time. It's inevitable.
Right.
Not everybody who emerges naturally into that family is going to be able to run the team the way that it needs to be run. What do they need to do now then? I've seen the names of the general managers, and this is what's become the latest cycle for hiring general managers. It's sometimes obscure personnel people that the casual fan has never even heard of who are getting these interviews. Some names are recognizable. Some are guys who have been working their way through the pipeline. I think they need a badass to go in there with a track record. It's the general manager industry in the NFL is so weird. Like, you get one chance.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
No matter how well you do,
right,
once it fails, you're done, and you never get another chance, and that's weird.
Yes.
Isn't that weird?
It is.
They need somebody who walks through the door with real admiration, real respect, real accomplishments, who can take over, the right personality to take over and begin the process of turning it around, and be someone, if the Maras don't want to do it or can't do it, whoever's in charge of the football operation needs to be the one who is able to keep talk radio, New York Post, Daily News, all the conduits there that get the fans riled up, calm everybody down, and get them to be patient, because this is going to take some time. We have to stop this cycle of throwing people out the door after every year or two. But you have to have some results, too, to get them to buy in. You got to shore up the offensive line. You got to have a quarterback who is trending toward being pretty good. You've got to do some things. You got to give them something to get them to be patient.
Some hope.
But
right.
I don't know. I don't know who. Good luck, Giants. Good luck finding somebody who is going to be the right person to turn this thing around. I don't know who that would be, but the usual cycle of dropping out of the sky a general manager that the fans say, "Who the hell is that?" I don't think that's going to work.
No, I hear you. The real thing is, though, is just who's out there right now. And again, I got to think about this a little, too, just as far as guys that would, line up to what you're talking about. That's been there, done that. That's been a part of it. That's to me where, just again, off the top of my head, this part kind of caught me, off guard a little. I can't think of anybody right off the bat that I think of and just go, wait, this guy did something special. He's been out, as a GM for a few years, and maybe he wants to get back in. That's where I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it, and I don't know. Maybe, but like, what I always look at for GMs more than anything is guys that come from places that have just built a team that has success, and I know that's why we're talking about some guys out of Tennessee. There's two viable candidates there. We got a guy from Buffalo, a guy from the Kansas City Chiefs, where, okay, I understand that those teams have, they've turned it around, the Tennessee Titans, in a short period of time. I think there is some badasses down there that understand how to build a football team. Same with the Bills. The Chiefs, of course, have been on top of the mountain for a while. Even before Mahomes, they were a good football team. There's been a lot of really good GMs come out of there and smart minds come out of there. That would be, of course, a place I'd look at and go, man, anybody coming from Kansas City's got a clue. There's like a tree of smart people that have come out of there, and that's why they've been relevant for the last 10 years in the NFL. But their work's cut out for them. But I hear you with that guy that's been like around. You'd want to find maybe, to what you're talking about, Kevin Colbert with the Steelers, right? I mean, I know it sounds like maybe he's coming to an end there as the GM after the draft. But somebody like that, I think, is what you're talking about, a guy that's been there, done that, built a winner, and the fan base can get behind. I think that's where you're going with this. But I just don't know those guys that are out there right now that they could honestly get or realistically get.
There was talk last year of the Lions making a play for John Schneider under the argument that Schneider doesn't have full and complete final say,
right,
and he could be plucked away from the Seahawks without compensation. And I remember when that first came out, and I need to go back and refresh my recollection on this, but I think I did the research on what it takes to fall into the category of being a general manager who can't be immediately plucked away. And I think I came to the conclusion that Schneider's title and responsibilities are enough that the Seahawks
Don't
would
have
be
to
able
let
to
him
say,
go. Yeah,
sorry,
right.
we don't have to let you go. And I think somebody was pushing Schneider to get his extension with the Seahawks, and so fed NFL media a line of crap, frankly. I'm remembering this now as it comes back to me. I remember being very irritated that NFL media pushed something that was just factually inaccurate, that Schneider could have been plucked away. So what I have lingering in my brain is this idea that Schneider could have been plucked away. He couldn't have been. But, there could be a guy like that out there.
Yeah,
and
right.
And, I know of one guy like that out there. I know of one, and that's John Lynch. Now, again, we'd have to get into the weeds to see what his job actually is, but the perception is he works for Kyle Shanahan. He sets the table for Kyle Shanahan, and Shanahan's got final say. So maybe the 49ers could stop him if they wanted to, but now, has Lynch done enough that he would walk through the door with the level of respect and deference that's necessary? I don't know. I don't know that he's done enough to get there and get to that point. But he would have that mindset and personality,
right,
where he could crack some heads if he needs to.
I know what you
literally
mean,
or figuratively.
Right.
So I don't know. It's hard to find somebody that the fan base is going to say ooh, and that is also going to have the chops to do the job. They're going to have a hard time finding the right person.
Yeah, it's going to be an extensive search here, hopefully. But it's they got to get a guy that, of course, has a vision as far as how they want the team built, has an idea of like a kind of coach they want to come into town, and how do they want to work with him, and what's the kind of team they envision together that they want to build. And then, listen, I think you're spot on, too. It's New York. Winning the press conference is a big deal. It's a real thing. I mean, that's why Bill Parcells is a legend here in this area. He won, not only did he win on Sunday, he'd come in on Monday and he'd win the press conference there too. And you just go, man, he's the man. Is he the king of New York or what? I mean, you got to have that guy. Yes, it's just part of the job. A guy that can handle the scrutiny, can be the bad guy at times, can talk back to the New York media a little bit in a way to like make the point. There's got to be a guy with a little bit of that type of cachet and confidence and cockiness to come in here and do that job. But yeah, I don't know where it goes. And I'm going to think about it a little more because now you got me on the track of a little bit of like, wait, is there guys out there that we're missing that did well, But like, again, for example, and I'm not saying this should be the guy, but names of like, yeah, is there a Thomas Dimitroff off there where you go, wait, there was a lot of good things he did in Atlanta. I know it's over. But he did build something there. I'm not saying he should be the guy, but is there more of those type of scenarios that we're missing that maybe they could be the guy that come in and handle, the New York media and get this thing back on track?
Well, Dimitroff walked through the door in 2008 and drafted Matt Ryan, who's still the starting quarterback in 2022 of the Atlanta Falcons. They had a team,
Julio Jones and made a move.
Traded
there.
up,
made
the big trade
He's still
up
playing
against
football, right?
Against the advice of Bill Belichick, traded up to get Julio Jones. Now they had a team that developed a reputation for blowing leads in the postseason, and then that culminated in obviously Super Bowl 51, the 28-3 lead that was held over the Patriots before it fell apart. But now I don't know about two things. One, does he have that? He's more cerebral and calculated.
Yeah, I got you.
Than he is Parcells in your face,
yes,
sit down and shut up. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe you got to play chess and not arm wrestle to win the press conference in New York at this point. I don't know, but there aren't a lot of guys that fall into that category of somebody who's done it and still is, most of the guys who are doing well are still employed.
Exactly.
Hey, it'd be great to get Eric DeCosta. He's still employed. It'd be great to get Schneider. He's still employed. It'd be great to get Gutekunst. He's still employed. The good ones stay employed. But then when it gets to the point where it's time for a change, even Rick Spielman. Now, I don't know how Rick Spielman would do with the New York media, and he never took a team to a Super Bowl, but he survived for 16 years in Minnesota, and, you could do worse and have done worse over the past 10 years than Rick Spielman in New York.
Yeah, you could. You just got to – but I think to your point, if you're going to go down that road, you better have a guy that's like got something to show for it a little bit, because the
Right.
New York fans and media is going to
Pelt on the horse.
yeah, they need something like that, because the New York fans and media are going to jump on that. And if you don't go that route, then you go to places where wait, they got like a real history of knowing how to build football teams, and there's something there, And again, that's where we go to Kansas City, Buffalo, Tennessee. There's a reason there. There's a reason we see people come out of Philadelphia and Baltimore a lot. I mean, gosh, it's 20 years of the team being good. There's obviously something they're doing, and it's a systematic approach that makes sense in those organizations. I do think when you get people from those type of organizations that have been consistently winners, even though they might have, not a marquee name, the fan base can get behind it to go, wait, this guy was there. All right, yeah, they built something in a hurry there. He must know what he's doing a little bit, or at least, have some knowledge about what it takes. And that, I believe, the fan base can get behind too.
And the problem is, if you turn over enough stones and you find a guy that fits that mold, does he really want to take that job if he's offered an opportunity to go elsewhere to a team where he doesn't have to complicate his life with this necessity and urgency to deal with the New York media, an impatient fan base, and the possibility that it all crumbles on him far more quickly than it would somewhere else? You need to be up for that challenge. You need to want to embrace that challenge.
Yeah.
That's part of the personality type.
Right.
You got to have the skill set to do it, and you got to have the desire to engage in swordplay with the likes of Mike Francesa for 45 minutes with no break on WFAN if he was still there. But that's the kind of stuff you got to be able to do, and you got to be able to win those battles, and you got to be able to get the fan base to side with you and not with the people that are asking you the questions when there is acrimony and hostility and reason for angst among those who cover the team and those who follow the team. It's not going to be easy. They are in a tough spot. And maybe that's one of the reasons they wanted to try to keep Joe Judge. They thought, ultimately with time, it's kind of like what Jerry Jones thought about Jason Garrett. Like, we're gonna mold this guy into a good coach. See, that's a problem. You don't have the luxury in New York to mold a guy into what he could become. You got to find somebody who can walk through the door right now and take over. They almost and this was thrown out there by Gary Myers a few years ago when we had reports of issues with Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft over Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady.
Yeah.
The idea of Belichick going to the Giants.
Yeah,
was put
right.
out
That was a
there.
little thing there. Yeah.
That's what they need.
Now,
Now,
it is
I
something
don't
like
think he would
that.
do it.
Yeah, right. No, I don't think so either now, but yes.
It was told to me at the time, and I think this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That it would take 5 years for Belichick to get with any other team what he has in New England from the standpoint
Right.
of coaches, systems, technologies, and
Yeah,
everything.
Right.
And so at this age, getting close to 70, he's not going to want to spend 5 years getting to where he already is. If he's going to keep coaching, it makes every bit of sense for him to keep coaching where he currently is because it's exactly where he wants it to be. But that's what the Giants should want. You make the phone call, and there's a system for this, and it doesn't happen nearly as much as it should. This is a chapter in my book, Playmakers, that comes out March 15, which actually it felt like it was a long-ass time. It's getting closer and closer. Mm-hmm. But the idea that the concept of trading for an established coach, that doesn't happen nearly as often as it should. It happened with John Gruden, obviously. Right. It happened with Herm Edwards at a time when the Jets were going to fire him anyway, and the Chiefs showed up and threw a draft pick or two their direction. There may be one other time where it happened. It almost happened with Jim Harbaugh from the 49ers to the Browns 8 years ago.
Right.
Now 9 years ago. John Mara, pick up the phone and call Robert Kraft. It's laughable. It ain't going to happen because Belichick's not going to want to do it. But that's what they need.
I know what you mean.
That's what they need.
I know what you mean. You're right. Somebody to get them back on the right track. But again, I don't know. There's the Josh McDaniels out there who's been under a Belichick, but is the Giants fan base going to get behind a Josh McDaniels, another New England head coach? I mean, I'd like
That's
to say,
the problem. They screwed it up.
I
They screwed it up with Judge. They should have just hired McDaniels.
It's gonna hurt that. It is. It is. And anything you know about the situation anyway. I mean, from all accounts, it sounds like Belichick was a part of talking to the Mara family and getting Joe Judge to be the New York Giants head coach. So, yeah, I don't know if that ship sailed or gone or what. But, yeah, the head coach, the next GM, it's going to be a tough task.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.